What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another Fall Obsession podcast episode. My name is Sam. I'm your show host over here at Fall Obsession. Thanks for tuning in. This week, my guests are Alex and Ryan from Vantage Point Archery. They are a machine shop in Fort Wayne, Indiana, that just started with a passion to make products American made. And they expanded into the archery industry. They're now making broadheads and other archery accessories that they put a lot of thought and a lot of pride behind. They are very passionate about making sure that they're building and machining durable products that are going to last. And we get into a pretty fun conversation with them about everything that they're doing over there. Really cool place. Hope you guys go check them out online as well as this podcast episode. Again, it's Vantage Point Archery. We're going to get into our conversation with them. But before I do, got to hit a few points, as you guys know, for the podcast. First and foremost is Hoot Camo, our flagship sponsor for Fall Obsession podcast. I've been rocking Hoot gear starting last year, and I'm not going back. There ain't no doubt about that. I love the functionality of the patterns and how they adapt to different environments. The durability of the gear is outstanding. It far surpassed my expectations, being 100% honest with that. I should have torn up my Hoot gear by now, and I have not. And then just the quality that they put into the gear, it's all there, and you can tell that they care about what they're building over there at Hoot Camo. So recommend that you guys go check them out. They have more than just camouflage. They also have golf gear, fishing gear, everyday wear, and they're in Shields now as well. They're growing over there at Hoot and doing some big things, and so that's awesome to see. But go check them out. What's really appealing to is that for a good quality set of camouflage, you're not going to find a more competitive price. So I know that everything's getting more expensive right now, and you're having to save up more money to get into that good quality set of camo. Hoot makes it more affordable, and if you want to place an order, no matter how big or small, you can use the code FALLOBSESSION15 and save a little bit more money. So Hoot Camo, go check them out. Elite Archery is a Fall Obsession partner. I've been rocking an Elite bow for several seasons now. Absolutely love it. Have an Ethos on the way. Excited for that. Rocked an Omnia last year, and it was pretty sweet. So I can sit here and try to convince you that Elite Archery is the best in the business, but what is going to be the ultimate test for you is actually putting one in your hand and shooting it. So if you've never shot an Elite bow before, or if you haven't shot one in a long time, technology in the archery industry changes very quickly. Go to your local dealer and take the Elite Shootability Challenge and see what you think. Put one in your hand, compare it to other bows, compare it to your old bow, whatever the case might be, and see if it works for you. Everybody's preference is different, and I hope that you find some value in Elite Archery, so go check them out. The Outdoor Call Radio app is a podcast partner. Outdoors Dan from Respect the Game TV, he has created an app that you can download on any device where you can stream hunting shows and podcasts on a loop every single day. You will catch Fall Obsession podcasts playing on that loop on Mondays. That's the same day as our new publications, as well as tons of other hunting shows and podcasts that we all know and love. So go download the Outdoor Call Radio app today. It is free, and you can start streaming immediately. And be sure that you follow them and Outdoors Dan on social media. He does a couple of different live radio shows at local Midwestern radio stations during the week. And even if you're not local to 1350 ESPN, where you can catch those broadcasts, he shares them on his Facebook Live. So go check out the Outdoor Call Radio app and go follow him on social media. Ridge Rock Hunt Company is another podcast partner. Derek Eves over there in Mississippi. He books hunts with vetted and trusted outfitters across the country. If you are looking to book that next hunt, that once-in-a-lifetime adventure, perhaps that you've been saving up for, then give Derek a call. He'll work with you on all the details and find something in his network that is trusted, vetted, and right for you. Ridge Rock Hunt Company. Go check him out. Finally, thank you guys again for listening to another Fall Obsession podcast. Whatever platform you are listening on, if you have not already, please be sure that you hit that follow or subscribe button that they have up there if that's an option. Turn your notifications on if you can. That way you get notified every time we drop a new podcast. We are a hunting and outdoor media production company, so we do way more than just podcasts. We also produce hunting and outdoor films, shows, have educational content in the form of articles, wild game recipes, videos, all that kind of stuff on our website, fallobsession.com. And some of our shows are streaming on Carbon TV as well. You can catch our Texas Dirt and Midwest Mindset hunting shows on there, as well as this podcast and our staff-inspired video podcast series, Couch Chats, all streaming on Carbon TV, and far more available from our YouTube channel and at fallobsession.com. Go check us out. Be sure you're following on social media and tag along with everything we got going on. That's all I got for now. We are heading on over to our podcast with Ryan and Alex from Vantage Point Archery. You guys are listening to another Fall Obsession podcast.
Oh, you got her, dude. She's down. Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode. My name is Sam, your show host, and I am joined this week by Ryan and Alex from Vantage Point Archery or Armory, and we're going to get into talking about all that kind of stuff. But welcome to the show, guys. Happy to have y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a pleasure. I enjoy getting on here with other outdoorsmen that are passionate about it and grinding away at growing a brand. So I want to talk to you guys about that. I want to talk to you guys about your journey and everything. And I think a good way to break the ice and kick things off is I want to turn it over to you and just tell us what you guys do.
I'll go first,
Yeah.
Alex.
Okay,
so
go for it.
What we do is shoot stuff, I guess. I don't know. We try to sometimes. That's not really even part of it, I guess. So just a backstory about VPA and the Armory and the archery, and even our machine shop is called Absolute Machining. We're based in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I think our big goal is to bring American machining back to America. Like if we could sum that up and what our goal is. And we don't care if it's a widget or if it's a broadhead, if it's an upper, if it's a lower, if it's a cool stabilizer to the hottest new broadhead that somebody's got a design for that they want to bring to us, that we can actually get to market and see it being viable. I say that in 2018, other partner Jeff Stringer was going through Absolute Machine, and he saw these broadheads being machined in a little area of the shop, and he came back. He's like, "Hey, you got to come look at this place." I didn't come from the archery side. I came more from the boom boom sticks. And when I saw that, and I'm like, "Oh, this would be cool. We need to see it." And since 2018, it's been a roller coaster, but it's been a fun one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so kind of just to elaborate off, what Ryan said, we're a machine shop, so that's kind of our bread and butter. And then from that, the shop's been around, I think, over 20 years now. And then VPA specifically was kind of like a company born out of passion. So our head machinist, Jeff Miller, who's still with us, just was a big traditional bow hunter and wanted to make his own broadhead. And I think we started out with a 3-blade 150 grain maybe or something like that. And it quickly spread just at archery competitions and shoots and stuff like that, just giving it out to friends, to what it is today with being in over 100 archery shops and selling internationally. So it's kind of a cool backstory that, we still have a lot of those team members who were there in the early days of the company here, but yet we're still, acting almost as a startup in some ways, where we've just started selling online and getting into these retailers over the past couple of years. So it's kind of a cool combination.
That's awesome. So American-made machining and everything, but I'm coming from an archery world myself, and Ryan, I think you and I talked a little bit about that when we met at that Safari Club briefly that one day. But I'm more of an archery guy in everything that I've come up through, and so that's where my interest is piqued, right? So I wanted to ask y'all about the broadheads specifically, because aside from wanting to bring American-made machining back and having a passion behind that, what is unique and special about these broadheads?
Oh man, like lifetime warranty, I think is the number one thing that I lean on. Like you pass through anything, you kill whatever, you take a picture of it and with the kill, like, and if that tip is bent or if it's dulled out or if it's nicked in any way, you're going to call and talk to me and you're like, hey, I'm going to say, send me a picture and I'm going to send it for free. I'm going to send you a new one for free. That's the one big thing. The other thing, like, we listen to the public. Like, we listen to what people want. Like, if you want a single bevel and 125 grains, we're going to do everything we can to get there. If you want in 100 grains, we're going to come back to you and say, sorry, we're not going to make it because we don't see it being viable. Like, it's not going to last. It's not going to hold up to what our specs on the broadhead that we want people. Can you shoot 100 grains? Yeah, we've got a 3-blade option that's great. Like, it's a great broadhead that I'm willing to warranty for its lifetime. I think public knowledge, like getting their influence. Also, the other side that I see a lot of is talking to people in their setups that I think is super fun for me to do. Like, oh, you wanna shoot 800 grains? Okay, I got something for that. Oh, you want to shoot 435? Okay, I've got something for that. You want to talk helical? You want to talk spines? You want to talk like we can get in the weeds really fast. Like Alex sent me an email today on the guy on a helical, and I had to call somebody because I'm like, this doesn't seem right to me. And it was just off the way he was looking at his helical. Like, I always look at a helical as I'm looking down the arrow, like I'm the target. Some people want to look at it from the back end. Well, that's totally opposite, right? You want to look at it like you're the target, and that's the way it's going to rotate. So it's just certain things like that we kind of trick out. And sorry, this is long.
No, please.
Alex,
I like long
Alex,
answers.
Say something.
No, I think it's just funny because we like have so many different projects going on right now, and I can hear like some of the things that we've been discussing throughout the week come out, like the 100-grain single bevel and different things like that. But I think it all comes back to, like Ryan said, customer feedback. But we're going to take feedback into consideration when making new products and adding them kind of to the design board, but we're not going to release a product without a design that we think is flawless and holding up through the testing process. So that can take a while to kind of get to where we're comfortable and confident in our products, but that's where that lifetime warranty comes into play, because we know our products are going to hold up, and that's the reason we can offer that warranty, right? We're not having to replace a ton of broadheads. I think, Ryan, you mentioned on the last podcast we were on, we did like 6 last year that had chipped, maybe, that people had contacted us to replace. They hit rocks or something like that. So we're really proud about being able to offer that. And it just goes back to the way they're made, which is CNC machined. Every broadhead starts out at a pound and gets whittled, machined down to 100 grain or 300 grain or whatever it may be. So it's definitely not the cheapest way to make a broadhead, whether it be like metal injection molding or welding together or something like that, but it's definitely the most durable way. And they're going to last really until you lose them, is what we say. Use them till you lose them, and then you have to come back and buy more.
You mentioned briefly in passing the field testing process. Talk to me about that and what that looks like for y'all, because I'm intrigued by what you're talking about as far as you talked about how it starts at a pound and you break it down from there. But talk to me about the process and into the field testing on how that works from start to finish with y'all.
Sure. So a lot of times, like, we'll send broadheads, like if we're working on a new design, like to guys like you, like, hey, run it through the test, see what's going on with it, see if it'll fail. At the shop, like we do, like I'll go get whether it's cow femurs or hog shoulders, and I'll just start blowing through stuff until it fails. Sometimes if prices are high on stuff like that, I don't live down south, so shoulders on hogs are kind of expensive. We'll just get OSB, right? Like we'll just get OSB and start throwing them through that. Man, I don't get into the, like, have I done it and will I do it? Yeah, but like a cinder block, I don't see many guys shooting through cinder blocks. Will I do it just so it holds up? Yeah, I mean, I know that they're not going to tip, curl. They're going to lose their edge. I mean, it's going to be a crappy broadhead when you're done, but I can still resharpen it. Right. I can still put it on it's still going to kill. What are some of the other things that we do? We've always talked about, like, let's get like a Doppler radar. Let's get this cool stuff and like let's like really send them out there and see what they're actually doing. Have we got that technical? No. Do we want to? Yeah. But on the same thing, like we're putting them through the test and making sure that before they actually go to the end user, they're gonna last. Like I'm surprised the amount of stuff we do just to make sure it's gonna pass our tests.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I guess adding to that, we are starting to take it to a more like technical level. But then we also partner with people like Ryan said. Well, we have a few people in our kind of network that we know conduct a lot of different methods of testing. So it's nice to be able to have everyone, shooting in different conditions, out of different bows at different speeds or whatever, put them through, different materials and just make sure we're all getting kind of that same result before, moving forward in our, R&D process.
Yeah. You want the consistency and the quality control to be behind something that's American made for sure. And I can understand and appreciate that 100%.
For sure.
So outside of we've talked briefly about the archery umbrella, but if you look you guys up there, y'all have some other stuff going on. What else is under the Vantage Point scope here?
Before we leave archery, let's talk about the Omega bleeders.
Yes, please. Please.
He's so excited to talk about that.
I am so excited. Like I've been waiting to talk about this thing. And Alex, I should have had you bring those home. That way you could have showed them tonight.
I know.
That's my fault. So it's going to be released in 150 grains and 200 grains to start with on a right bevel. The cut on each one of those is going to be 1.16". The bleeders are 0.750, so 0.792, so 3/4 inch diameter on the bleeders. The bleeder thickness is 0.92.
Really?
In the industry, most of the bleeders are 0.20. So, like, these are thick, stout bleeders that are going to last. Super excited about it. So, the other thing that we're working on, with the bleeder, it's going to be 150. Without the bleeder, it's actually going to be a 125 head. And then on a 200, it's going to be 200 with a bleeder and a 175 without. Sharpens just as well, just like the Omega heads. You can take out the bleeders, and it's a full bleeder that goes all the way through the barrel. So it's a solid, kind of like a triangle that goes through the center of the ferrule, locks in by a ring that you screw on your insert outsert wherever you have. I shot him. When did I shoot him? Shot him last weekend. Just putting him into targets. And then Jeff did like OSB and all that other stuff. But I was telling Alex on Monday, like, I'm going to have to invest in some more stinking targets. I'm going to keep shooting these things in the targets. It just tears them up when you pull them. Like, it's just hard on target. So I'm excited for them. I know that Alex is, and I hopefully – are we thinking 2 weeks or 3 weeks, Alex? What are we saying?
I think we're going to launch them available for pre-order here very soon. I don't know when this episode people will be listening to it, but very soon, early July, and then hopefully get them shipped out within the next couple weeks after that. So we're getting through there, just finishing up the production process, making sure they've got their heat treat and black oxide and all that good stuff, and Scary Sharp out the door. So we're excited. It's kind of been something we've wanted to do for a long time, and just kind of wrapping up some other projects, so we've been able to work on this one.
That's awesome. I can sense your passion, man, behind this product and everything. It's awesome. What is there a driving force or an inspiration in particular behind this one opposed to others?
Yeah, I think the driving force behind this was I was talking to Rob at Lancaster Archery over a year ago now. And he said, why don't you guys do bleeders? And I looked at him, I said, I love the idea of bleeders, but I don't know. I said, I don't like selling something extra.
Right.
Like, I feel like bleeders, when like guys are just going to come and buy more bleeders. They're going to have to buy more bleeders. They're going to buy more bleeders. I'm like, that's not the game I'm in. Like, I want something that can hold up and hold up well. And I think this broadhead is done that way. Like, there might be guys that send them into something like a stone or something on a pass through where it's going to wreck the bleeder and I'm going to have to warranty it. But I know this thing is stout, man. It's thick. It's a great broadhead. I'm excited for it.
That's awesome.
If guys can sling that weight, if they can sling 150 grains up front.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, right? They're like, why can't you make that in a 125? Can't do it. Like, it's not structurally sound then. Then I can't, like, go back to that. Like, we want to provide something for a decent price that the blue collar guy can buy and put them in his quiver and know that they're going to last for a long time.
No, I agree with that 100%. So, and while we're talking about that too, you know, you talk about the weight and everything. I want to hit on, or I want to talk to you guys about just the weight of broadheads in general, as far as the benefit of that and your thoughts behind all that. Because my background is years ago, I worked in an archery shop and I was a bow tech for several years. And this is 10 plus years ago now, I guess. But, you know, at the time, and even myself, I'm running, even until recently, I've been running, you know, 100 grain tip. And it's only recently that I've done my own research and kind of changed my way of thinking, not just on the broadhead, on a lot of things in my archery setup, but namely the broadhead. And, so I want to get your thoughts on that, as far as what hunters should expect and what the benefit that you are looking for in, not just from a more structurally sound broadhead, but running that weight out front.
I'll go, Alex. Man, Alex, I'm doing all the talking. You got to jump in here.
You're chatty Cathy tonight. It's funny.
I am chatty Cathy. Been talking all day, and I
got you on a good night.
So let me preface this with, like, if a guy's stuck on 100 grains, I'm not going to change it. Like, that's not what we're doing at Vantage Point Archery. If he is like, hey, I'm running 100 grains, I'm like, sweet, I've got a sweet 3-blade. You go vented, you go 1.25 inch. No, you can't. You go 3-blade, 2-blade vented, 3-blade solid, 3-blade vented. That's kind of the offering there. When I talk to guys as far as on weight, it's always on the side of, where are you hunting at? Where are you going? For us here in Indiana, I know, and this is just me, my bottom 10 is set at 40. If I'm going out west, yeah, I'm going to change that setup and get out a little bit further. But I'm going to run, this year I'm going to run that stinking bleeder, because in that arrow setup's probably going to be in the high 4s, low 5s, right? I'm not for sure on that yet, but I know that where my bottom pin's at. I know what I'm hunting for. I know it's whitetail. I know that I don't have to worry about a shoulder. Actually, I don't care about shoulders anymore. I aim, like, I'm aiming for vitals, and if it hits and it lands through, it's going to blow through, right? And Alex and I say this all the time, and so does Jeff, like, our broadheads are fully open on impact. That's one of the things we say, like, they're fully open. Like, there's nothing about that. And I'm not counting anybody's broadhead down out there. I'm just saying, like, I know where they are. Back to the guys, like, I'll have some guys that just want, like, that whole, like, hey, tell me what I should shoot. I'm like, dude, I don't know your setup. What are you pulling? We'll get in the weeds really fast. Right? Okay, what's your draw like? Okay, this is kind of what I would go. Are you hunting bear? Are you hunting water buffalo over a 20-yard hole? Like, what are you shooting at? So there's so many things there that you got to take into, like, are you pulling 50 pounds or are you pulling 87? Like, where are you at? So we kind of steer them that way a little bit. Does that answer your question, Sam?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I've always, like, when I first started my archery journey, I was getting caught up, I felt like, on speed, and that was when I would consider myself at the time a very novice archer at the time, and I changed my way of thinking into more of, okay, kinetic energy, what am I packing on impact, and even looking at my bow itself. Like, at one of my first bow setups was a super lightweight bow physically and everything, and I carried that on for a little while, and, you know, even changing how my weights distribute on my bow and everything itself, and then growing into okay, I want a different arrow build. I need something that's gonna, not just fly fast. I don't need the fastest bow on the range or anything like that, and changing my way of thinking, and like I mentioned at the beginning, morphing it more into even recently, like, okay, I think I'm done with these 100 grain heads. Not again, I'm not discounting them. Shot them for many years, and I've killed many things with them, but I'm learning to appreciate a lot of other things, and not getting so boxed in my mind in the archery world. So
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
that's
something Jeff normally says too on when he's on here, we're just talking, is, we want people to kind of do the testing themselves. Like, we don't, nobody wants to feel like you're being told there's only one way to do something, right? Because there's a million people out there bow hunting in different setups and still being successful, or they might be doing the same setup and unsuccessful. But we like to let people kind of test around. We have a field point test kit we offer on our website, so people can try 100 grain field point all the way up to 300, kind of see what works best for them before just buying a pack of broadheads and hoping they like the grain weight that they chose or whatever. And then we also offer a custom test pack of broadheads, which is kind of a new thing. If they wanted to try a 3-blade or a single bevel or different grain weights or something like that. It's kind of like Ryan said, we don't necessarily try to tell people there's one way to do something, but we will help kind of guide them based on, their preferences and their setups and things like that.
absolutely. Ryan, you talked about your setup and Midwest Indiana versus switching it up to go out west and everything. Does that broadhead setup change with that? Because a lot of the and I've been guilty of being that guy in the past too, is like, hey, I'm shooting longer distance or whatever. I don't know about how well these fixed blades are going to fly, at a longer range or whatnot. How's your setup change?
Yeah, I think no matter what, like for me, my bow is going to be tuned for that broadhead, right? Like
Right.
if it's a 3-blade broadhead, I'm going to do that work, make sure it's tuned out for that. That way I can go out if I need to reach out to 60, 70 yards. Like, man, just like if I have that chance to shoot an elk at 60 yards and he's a big bull, man, I hope I take that shot, because I'm not scared for that Midwest hunt where it's like, man, he's too far out there, right? I hope I have enough in me to like say, hey, this is a good ethical shot, right? Like, and I want to take it. But I haven't been put in that position because I've never killed an elk. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't know until I go to do it. So it's, I think that no matter what, all of our broadheads, whether it's 3-blade, single bevel, 2-blade, like they're like, how do they fly like field points? I'm like, no, it's not going to fly like a field point. You've got to be willing to do the test, not do the testing, but like shoot the field point, then shoot the broadhead, make that adjustment, whether it's top, whether it's rest, whether it's like whatever, like right out of the package, a 3-blade broadhead, a solid one-piece broadhead is not going to fly like a field point. It's not a streamlined mechanical. So that's one thing, a big question that I get a lot. Is it going to fly like a field point? I got to be totally honest with you. No, it's not. You got to do some adjustments.
Yeah.
It's not a Saturday morning broadhead. It's hey, let's get this in July, August and work out the kinks and make sure that this is good to go.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of archers out there who are those weekend warriors, those Saturday morning guys, the guys that, oh, bow season opens next week, I guess I better go pull my bow out of the closet, that, and I know plenty of guys like that are perfectly successcell that way too. Not knocking on them or anything.
Big deer, man.
every time, they're the ones that kill the 160s on opening weekend.
Yeah, they are.
But
they're doing it right.
Yeah, no, not discounting that. That's not who I am. I gotta know that everything is perfect. Even so, every year when we build out our new bows every year, myself and one of the other guys on our team, Nick, him and I, we're local to each other, so we both go to the same bow shop and do the build, and he can tell you there's some times where we're on that paper tune rack and I'm just, again, the bow tech in me, right? I'm just looking at him like, man, it's like it's like 2 millimeters. Like it's hard, hardly anything. I'm nitpicking stuff and looking at everything. He's like, dude, let's just go shoot. It's close enough. Let's go shoot. So sometimes a little too picky, but
Good deal. That's great.
I have to ask because y'all have said a few times now, and this is not my world, right? 300 grain broadhead. Who's shooting that? Say again.
Actually, it's
Not me.
It's not me. Actually, it's going to be 350 here coming soon.
350. Okay.
I say 300 because, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, at least 75 SKUs now on Broadhead, something like that.
Something
crazy.
like that. I mean, it's really just kind of, another thing we pride ourselves on is having something for everyone. So we have 2-blade and 3-blade, like 100 grain all the way to 300. And like Ryan said, even a 350, I think, coming out. And then the single bevel stuff, the solid versus vented, double bevel, single bevel. So yeah, it's getting up there. I think 70s or so. But a lot of the guys, I think, going to Africa, a lot of people just, going after big game, thinking kind of like you mentioned earlier, I better get a bigger broadhead, when that's not necessarily always the case. But we do have a lot of customers who shoot that heavier stuff.
Wow.
Yesterday I talked to a guy in Alaska. He's moose hunting with a longbow, right? And
wow.
He wants a single bevel at 300 grains.
Wow.
That's what he's looking. That's what he's going to kill with this year. So, yeah.
I guess I didn't.
20-yard shot with a longbow.
Right.
That moose is going to be really close, and he's going to plow through it with. I think he said his overall weight of his arrow is 875 grains.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just like, holy smokes.
I mean, I guess I didn't turn my mind toward the traditional side. I'm not a trad guy myself. I keep saying every year that eventually I'm going to get into it, and I still haven't done it. But I hadn't thought of that. But I remember from the archery shop days, like even guys going to Africa, I remember building 600, 700, 800 grain arrow setups for them, But I just, for whatever reason, in my mind, like I don't remember putting a head on the end of it that was much over 150 or 200, doing that. They were just getting a heavier arrow or putting inserts in them, or doing that kind of thing. And so that's why I was curious on who's running a 3 or 350 grain, because that's a lot of weight out front, man, for sure.
I think somebody even had us make a custom head once that was like 550 or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
For I don't know what, something in Africa, I guess.
It was a spear, I think. I'm not really sure on that.
A spear.
Spear.
Oh my word. Well, I'm curious to know that guy's story now. I want to know if he gets his moose.
I'll let you know. If he's going to send us photos, let me know.
Yeah, I'd be curious for sure.
The other thing, if you're getting into that trad world, take a look at those ILF risers that we have on the website.
Okay.
That's kind of that entry side. Like, man, I've seen, and I even saw an article on the front of the bow, whatever, but the traditional side is making a comeback. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
That it's huge amount of guys that are going back to like when we were kids, right? Pulling out that small little riser or that little bow and going out back and slinging arrows.
Yeah, no, I have a good buddy of mine that I go to church with. He's been on my show before, and I'm trying to get him back on here in the near future, just scheduling. But he's completely put down his compound, and he's gone full trad and hunts public land in Texas. Doesn't pay for a hunting lease or spot or anything like that. And that dude kills just as many, if not more, deer and pigs than anybody else I know. Just he's out there all the time with that trad bow and making it happen. And yeah, he's one of the best ones I know for sure. It's making a comeback, to your point.
That's great.
Talk briefly about those risers, and I guess that's kind of going into the machining side of some of the other stuff that you guys do. But
yeah. It's something we've made, like the ILF risers that we're making it a 13-inch super short, right? 13-inch ILF riser. anywhere. I mean, you can make these things as short as 58 or as long as you want, depending upon what lens you're making and what lens you're putting on there. A little bit different on our angles at 5 degrees, so guys get a little bit more poundage out of it,
Okay.
which they like. I've heard it stacks well. Like I'm like right. I'm with you. I'm still pulling back my compound, right? Because I love it. I've got one. It's super like I don't stack arrows very well with my compound, so they're not. My groups aren't tied up. Is what I say. It gives me a little OCD. And plus, man, thinking about calling a deer in like 20 yards scares the crap out of me. Like I don't know if I'm gonna get that shot. Like I probably will, but like it's one of those things that I want to make sure I'm still being ethical. And that's the big thing.
Yeah.
I want to take that animal with like and do it right, right? Like I want to do it right. So, yeah, we're making them. We just started doing. They're on the website. We just started doing a new kind of camo. We're Cerakoting them. It's kind of a Midwest camo. We're calling it. Super cool. We're going to do them. We did an American flag one. That we're releasing for 4th of July. American flag one, a Midwest camo, and then what's the other one? Bronze.
Mm-hmm. Burnt bronze. Yeah.
Burnt bronze.
They've just been pretty popular, so we expanded kind of the color options and things like that, and then actually looking to start offering them in different lengths too. So probably a 15, 17, 19, and would it be 21 then, Ryan?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. I just pulled it up on your website because I was curious about that color. You got that OD green on there, and
oh, yeah.
you're speaking my language with that. I love those solid greens and browns like that. The past couple bows that I've had, I've done that on. I love it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I need to with the trad thing. I need to just pull the trigger one of these days and make it happen because I know it's a time commitment, and I'm like you, Ryan. I want to make sure I'm ethical and everything with it. But a majority of my shots down here in Texas, with the way I have my stand set up and everything, are 30 yards and under. So I know I can think of a couple of stands where typically most shots I take out of it are, in the 20s, and I'm like, man, every time I'm like, man, I could trad bow. I could get a trad bow up in this stand and go traditional up here. And I'm also thinking as soon as I do that, that buck's going to be out there like 45 yards skirting me the entire time. So that's my luck, but
Yep.
That's how it goes, probably.
That's how it is. How it is.
So the rest of what I know, I jumped the gun a little too soon earlier, and I'm glad you stopped me. But the rest of what you guys have going on up there, as far as I believe you're calling it your Vantage Point Armory. Is that correct? Is that what you guys are kind of branding it as? And I want you guys to talk a little bit about some of that other stuff.
Yeah, so it kind of all ties back, we're a machine shop and we do machining for other companies too, and really in any industry, automotive, and kind of had some of that firearm stuff coming through. And just like archery, there's a lot of guys in the shop passionate about firearms. And so when there's an opportunity to kind of work on something like that, everybody's excited. So one of our head engineers, I guess, just had this idea for a compensator. So it's patent pending for your pistol, no threaded barrel required. So it's 50 state legal, which has been a huge selling point, for a lot of people in different states, not Indiana, but different states. So it's kind of taken off like wildfire. We just launched that at SHOT Show in January, the end of January. So pretty new still, just coming out with different models for different, firearms, and some other exciting new products we're hoping to launch here soon too.
Awesome. Y'all talked about how you're just you want to make things that are beneficial to people, that you listen to your customers basically and listen to the feedback and everything like that. Has there been any products on any side of it, can be archery or any of it, that anybody's come to you with and you're just something you would never think of, but yet it turns out to be a super functional little piece of equipment?
I'm gonna think about that.
Yeah, that's kind of probably a bigger question. I should have emailed that one before.
Yeah.
I can think of one that it was already out on the market, right? That I made a connection with, and I'll tell you who it is, but just a little prep. Like made the connection with the guy, and he's a great dude that likes everything made in America. He's from Texas. It's Aim for the Passer, and it's Danny Alba.
Okay.
We met a couple years ago at ATA, and I saw as I'm like, man, that's a cool idea. And we started talking. He's like, where are you guys at? I was like, I'm in Indiana, you're in Texas. And then just formed that relationship. And believe it or not, now we're helping him make them. Like, and that's something that we're super proud of. Like, he has a shop down in Texas, but he sees our capabilities and what we're doing in the industry. And like, yeah, I can partner up with you guys. Like, I love his slogan, can't beat American made. I love the man, like who he is, and he'll speak the truth, and he's not willing to, like, he's not going to compromise on the smallest thing. Like, he wants it perfectly made. He wants it made in America, and he wants it at a great price. That way he can get it in people's hands. And he's just a cool dude, and I love his product. I'm running on all my bows, and there's some cool stuff coming out on that side too that I'm super excited for him.
Yeah. So I guess for people who haven't seen it before, the mule stabilizer, Cam Haynes is actually running it on his bow. So I know a lot of people have seen it through there, but it's just a stabilizer that acts, it's hard to describe without having one, but it's got like a little armrest V. I guess he calls it the saddle. So it kind of takes the weight off your bow when you're, walking around with it. You can kind of do it under your arm or over your forearm. Acts like a kickstand too if you want to set it down so your cam's not on the ground, but pretty cool stuff. And then I guess another thing too that somebody came to us with the idea for would be the Omega. We partnered up with Daryl Barnett on that, and it's like, who didn't think of making a broadhead that lays flat to sharpen until now, but nobody did. And it's just things like that we kind of run with and see what happens.
That's awesome. I love every bit of it. The mission and the goals, the passion, the attention to detail. It's awesome what you guys are working on. It's good stuff. Well,
appreciate it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit of hunting with y'all too, and I know we talked about Broadheads specifically and everything, and you mentioned briefly, Ryan, your sight and everything, but what's your overall bow setup look like right now?
So I'm shooting a Matthews Phase 4. My draw length is 29.5. My pound is set at 71. I'm going to run the RIP TKOs this year. I'm a little maybe underspined. I probably am. I've got those 150s up front. But I know that, and that's kind of what I'm going to rock this year. I know I'm going to rock this year. I don't think I'll build more arrows. I've got a bunch of them, and my wife looks at all my arrows, and she's like, I got too many of those things. It's like, I know that they're important, and they go into targets, and I break a lot of them. So
you can help me build some for my setup, Ryan.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
There you
go. Sure. That's another thing. Like, we brought on Victory in our shop. Like, we never done that. Like, had another, and like we're sitting on Victory. Blah. You know what? We chose Victory arrows because we like the way that we connected with them at SHOT Show, and they're just good guys. And it's just a pass-through item for us. We don't think we don't know. We're just, it's one of those things that, like, if guys come to the shop or come to the website or come to the shop, like, oh yeah, I shoot RIP TKOs. It's a great arrow. I'll shoot those. Okay, here you go. Just something that we can offer to guys, and not, we're just trying to help them out and not have them go to their local. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but it's just easy for us to do. I've shot a lot of different arrows. I like my RIPs, so I do.
That's awesome. What about you, Alex? You running a setup right now?
Yeah, I'm going to try. So hopefully this will actually be my first season out there to get something. So brand new to bow hunting and everything, just kind of been learning as I go and started working here. But I got a Bear Legit bow, so I actually really like that a lot. And then I had some Black Eagle arrows that I've been shooting. And then I was set up last, I guess here a few months ago with the Omega 125 grain. But hopefully bump up so I can test out the Omega with bleeders here this season. But it's been fun. It's a lot to learn, that's for sure. It's not easy. Never like hunting before going, diving in the deep end with learning so much and with how technical it is these days and with all the YouTube videos, but it's fun. I like it. I see why people get so addicted to it.
It's an interesting time for sure. It's a very educational time to get into hunting in the outdoors with as many resources as are out there to get anybody plugged into it. It's awesome, but at the same time, it's a blessing and a curse because you can Google why is this good, and you get 1,000 reasons why, and then you Google the same thing, why is this bad, and you get 1,000 reasons why. So at the end of the day, and like y'all have already mentioned, you want people just to get out and try it on their own, and see what works best for them. And that's what we do down here. And I've certainly used products or shot arrows or stuff like that I probably wouldn't go back to. And the stuff that I'm using now is because I, have a reason to. It's because it's proved itself to me. And that's what everybody should look for, I feel like, in a setup. So
Sam, what's your setup this year?
So I'm contemplating my arrow build right now. I've been shooting for the past 8 years Easton Axis arrows and loved them. I've gotten countless pass-throughs with them, and it's been a great arrow. I know shot placement has something to do with that too, but I've never had a reason to change. And not that I do have a reason to change, it's just for the first time in 8 years, I'm considering, trying to run something different. So I'm trialing a couple different things right now and weighing some options. I have a new bow on the way from our partner over here, Elite Archery. I'm going to be shooting an Elite Ethos this year from them. My sights are custom bow equipment, CBE sights. Year number 6, I think, running a CBE sight, and I've run a few different models and everything, and pretty happy with the results I've had with them, the durability and the tunability of the sight for me. QAD HDX arrow rest has been tried and true for me for years, so I'm still running that. And I don't get too hung up on the brands of stabilizers. I am running Elite Archery stabilizers because they offer a decent one that I like right now. But I've been running for the past few years an 11.5-inch front bar and an 8-inch back bar on my hunting rig. I know some people kind of look at it like, dude, why you got all that going on your hunting bow? And sometimes I wonder it, but a few years ago, I dove deep into kind of the science behind just weight distribution on my bow and setting myself up for a shot. It was around the time that I really started getting into long range shooting. I normally plan a Western hunt of some kind every year, or try to, and when I do that, my goal is to be able to put them in a softball at 100 yards. That's my personal goal for going out there. And so I play around with the weight distribution on my bow itself, both front, back, side to side, everything. I kind of told y'all about my paper tuning technique earlier. I'm very picky, I want everything to be perfect. So, that's it in a nutshell, and looking forward to getting my new bow in. I ran the Omnia from Elite last year and absolutely loved it. I had them singing, going out there that long range and everything, and I ended up shooting my Colorado mule deer at 28 yards. So I didn't really have to practice out to 100, but I was ready to go nonetheless. But
Whoa, wait, time out. You never said what broadhead you're running up front.
Because I'm still playing around with some.
All
Yeah. No.
Because he hasn't gotten the Omega with
I'm not trying to be secretive or anything, but I literally have a box of broadhead, probably 6 different manufacturers and different broadheads over here right now that I'm playing around with and seeing what fits my fancy. So I'll probably once you drop those, I'll place an order and probably get me one of those Omegas with bleeders, because just talking to you and your passion, it has me intrigued as well. So I'll try anything once, man.
That's what I like to hear. I love it.
Yeah, that's
so. You talked about that. Like, if you're going mule deer hunting in Colorado, like what grain weight are you running up front? Are you busting up to 125?
Yeah.
You slinging that 100 yards? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my overall arrow weight last year, going out there with that axis and the head and everything that I was running on there, my arrows weighed at, what was it, 455 or 460, I think, was what my arrows
Okay.
were weighing running out there on that hunt. So, and that's the heaviest arrow setup I'd ever run up to that point. Normally,
Yeah.
my arrows have been in the like 410 to 435, depending on kind of how I built them out and the stuff that I did. Still running an axis every time, but I've played around with even as far as how far I've cut them. Where on the shelf I've cut them in the past, if I ran inserts or not. I talked about being with a 100 grain head for a long time and recently going heavier with 125s and yeah, even stuff like my veins and my wraps and that kind of thing, I've changed that up over time, and something as small as that even plays a difference on your weight a little bit, not much, but some.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah, that's kind of the range, and I was happy with what I was seeing last year. And the mule deer that I ended up killing, I ended up having to take a hard 1/4 and 2 shot on him. It was one of those deals where it's like, if I don't shoot this arrow this second, there won't be another second, just spot and stalk muleys out there. And it did the job. I buried it up to the fletching, so I was happy with it.
Good deal. Good deal.
What so I don't want to make us run too long into our episode or anything. I do have some questions that I like to ask all of our first time guests. But before I do that with you guys, I wanted to make sure that we have done our due justice to talk about y'all's brand and what you guys are doing, and if you guys have anything else you want to add for our listeners.
No, I think
Go
it's
ahead,
been
Alex.
great. I would just say American made broadheads and other archery equipment. We're out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, so we do everything right there in our shop. We have, I think, maybe over 30 employees now. So we always say we look at that as 30 families, we're supporting and take care of in the VPA family. But yeah, lifetime warranty. Check us out. We're on all the social media channels, vparchery.com, and got some new products coming out like we've been talking about.
I'm excited. You got me excited for them. Looking forward to seeing what you guys roll out. So I wanna ask you guys. Like I said, I ask all first time guests on our show this, and I'll start with you, Alex. From what I understand, you're relatively new to the hunting world. Is this going to be? You talked about your archery setup. Is it going to be first year archery hunting or hunting at all?
Hunting for myself in general. I grew up, my dad was pretty into hunting, growing up. He actually is originally from Utah, so Western hunting. So growing up, just like going out there and, hanging out with him, but never, since we moved to Indiana, he wasn't super into it. So I never really had a reason to get into it. So this will be, my first season, hopefully getting a whitetail. I would like to go pig hunting a lot. We keep talking about taking a team trip down to do some pig hunting or something, but yeah, I'm excited. It's already the end of June, which is crazy. So it's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, no joke on that. Well, I'm excited for you to get your feet wet and go out there for your first year, but it sounds like you have some experiences in the past, just from the family standpoint. So you don't have to be the one behind the weapon to, have an enjoyable experience. So I want to ask you this question as far as, is there a hunting memory from your past that sticks out in your mind that you'd like to share with us?
From that, I would just say I can think of, a picture that my parents have here somewhere in like a scrapbook or something of me laying, like sunbathing back as a little kid, all bundled up in like an orange big coat, just on the four-wheeler with like little sunglasses on. And I'm like, that makes it look like it's super easy, right? You don't have to do anything, but just out with, I think it was with my dad and my grandpa and maybe some of my uncles too. But I just think it's important to, keep it something that's fun. I think it gets really, from my position, I do all our marketing here. So I see a lot of the stuff on social media, and it gets very serious, like, very competitive. And it's like, the reason it comes back to is we're out here, to support your family and have a good time and be ethical. And so I hope I can kind of, showcase that when I'm out there and get friends into it and maybe get family back into it and kind of make it a group thing.
That's awesome. Ryan, do you have a hunting or outdoor memory that sticks out in your mind as one of your favorites?
I think for me, like the outdoor for me, like I do a trip every year, and this is fishing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about it
Yeah.
because I love it. Like the hunting thing, like I remember, like even for me, I remember the bad stuff. Like every hunting, like the stuff that goes wrong. Like last year, I murdered a 4-inch sapling. Didn't even see it. Just like I was able to take the broadhead out on the other side. It was perfect, but just murdered that sapling. But there was a nice buck behind it that I totally missed. Right? Like I remember the bad stuff. For me, like I do a trip up to the Boundary Waters in Kulu with 4 guys. Like getting away and outdoor for me, like I love that. It doesn't matter how much time I spend in the stand. It doesn't matter. Like I love that. Like early mornings, getting up, watching deer come in. Last year, I sent Alex a video of a cat that I had in our stand because we were hunting the same stand, like right by each other. And I couldn't get a deer to stop or anything to stop that morning, but I murked and a cat stopped right in front of me, and it was on video. And I sent it to her. I was like, at least I got the cat to stop this morning. So just stuff like that, and we have fun with it, and it's just a good little community that we have around here. It's not about like, it's just about getting out and yeah, we'll say it like connecting with God and connecting with Jesus and being on that
Yeah.
page where we can just like, man, it's just so refreshing. It's just so refreshing. Integrity is big for us, and that's one thing that we'll stand on. Is like, hey, like if we say we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. If we say it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. We're trying and we're working, not working the system. We're working our hearts and connecting with people and good people like you, Sam. It's just awesome. It's yeah, we love it, right?
Absolutely. No, that's why we do it.
For all the bad, for all the bad that we see and what's going on, like there's a lot of good there too. We want to focus on that good.
Yeah. No, to your point, it's easy to get frustrated or focus on the things that don't go right, but things that keep you going are the things that do go right. So
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, last question for each of you. Ryan, we'll start with you. Is there what's at the top of your bucket list for hunting that you haven't gotten to do yet that you hope to do one day?
I want to go to Alaska and kill a moose.
I love it.
I would love to spot and stalk a. I don't know why. That's just like, if I could get there, it'd be good. Like, I don't know. It just seems like being in that country and hoofing it and chasing them down. Like, I just think that would be like, I love being outside. So I'm all game for that. So if you know any buddies that want to do that, let me know.
Yeah. No, I got plenty of people that would love to participate if a group opportunity or something like that came along.
Yeah.
I'd probably be one of them. My number one's a caribou in Alaska, so I wouldn't be far behind.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Alex, what about
Mine,
you?
I had a couple things pop in my head when you said that, which are both kind of funny for somebody who's never even killed a whitetail before. But one would be, I think, a mountain lion hunt would be really cool. And then also, I've seen where people do like a crocodile or something,
Yeah.
which I think would be really awesome. But I would probably be scared and out of my league. But I think it'd be cool.
Those are pretty fun. I've never done either personally. I've had folks on our show that have done both of those before, and yeah, they say it is quite the adventure and everything. I don't know if I would do the crocodile. I'd be down for the lion hunt for sure, but I don't know. Crocodiles aren't my thing.
They're scary, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap up our podcast, but I really appreciate y'all taking some time this evening to hop on here with us and share y'all's journey and everything that you guys have going on over there. So thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Real quick, I know you mentioned briefly before, Alex, the social, like being on social media and active and everything on there, but one more time for our listeners, just specifically where they can find you guys if they're interested in learning more or placing an order or whatever it might be.
Yeah, vparchery.com. Search VPA or Vantage Point Archery on any of the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, I guess. we might be in your local archery shop. Give us a call. We can connect you with the closest shop nearby. We're in over 100 now.
Wow.
But we ship out super fast. Lifetime warranty, like we mentioned, and then we got some new products coming out, and we do run some sales here over the summer. So be sure to check out our page and see what we have going on.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, thank you guys again. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We're back again next week for another podcast, and I'll catch you then.